This is Rudaski of WeAreChange.org here at the 67th Annual Bilderberg meeting in Switzerland, joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Charlie Skelton, an amazing writer. I really enjoy his writings. And to me, ultimately, there really hasn't been an individual that has exposed so many people to Bilderberg and what's happening than Charlie. I mean, his pieces are great. They're very well written. And they go out there to the mainstream media, which is surprising. I don't know, you've been fighting tooth and nail for this battle, and you've been doing a lot of good investigative work. This is the end of the 67th Annual meeting of Bilderberg. What's your take on this year? It's kind of a stranger year, but there's a lot to say about this year. What's your take on it?
Well, the first thing I'd say is that there have been more words said by Bilderbergers, I think. Would that be true than ever before? Not that I'm out there asking them. You guys are the ones, getting up close and personal with them and making, asking questions and putting on the charm and all of that. But there does seem to be a slight opening of the floodgates. Perhaps not floodgates, but a bit more of that, which is great.
Yeah, it's like, we'll talk to you a little bit, but a lot of them are just kind of PR talking points. They're like, we're trying to make the world a better place, and I'm like, for whom? and they're like, and they're saying, oh no, everything's on the agenda list. All the participants are on there. You know who's attending. And then Mike Pompeo comes in there and officially talking about Iran, and they're like, oh yeah, that's not on the agenda list. He's not on the participant list, and I think this was something major that Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, was here in his huge entourage. I mean, I just filmed the motorcade. It was a huge motorcade. There's a lot of significance to this, especially with Jared Kushner also here. What do you make of Mike Pompeo being here?
Well, you're absolutely right. There was simply no hiding it. I mean, there's been rumours of various people popping into meetings and turning up and dropping in, dropping out, Obama, Hillary, all of that kind of thing. But there was no hiding. It was like the Queen of Sheba arriving. I mean, it was extraordinary. Yeah. And, the whole area around the hotel in Montreux was just shut down. And, it was a bit sort of like Darth Vader, sort of the empire arrives. It was very much the office of the Secretary of State had arrived. Obviously there's this big guy gets out, but he's sort of irrelevant to me. It's like it's the kind of, this power arrives and goes, here we are, and there's guns everywhere and, God knows what. It's a small army. Yeah. And, there's just no hiding the fact that he's there. It was the most it slightly blew open a lot of kind of myths and misunderstandings about Bilderberg. Yeah. The fact that he's there.
Even the way, not only the way he drove in, but specifically the way that he was walking to the boat yesterday on the boat party with just this huge entourage, and he just kind of stomping in there. It's like Emperor Palpatine just coming in there like with this whole crew behind him of just armed guards and armed police everywhere. It was a sight to see.
And the guy next to him, the guy next to him is the U.S. ambassador to Switzerland. He was not a small guy. So the two of them together, it's like Tweedledum and Tweedledee, and and I'm thinking that these guys, they have so many banquets. They're about to have canapes, pre-banquet canapes they must just have the constitution of oxes to be able to just keep putting it away, banquet after banquet after banquet. I've got to admire them.
It was definitely a sight to see. It was definitely fascinating to kind of view all of this taking place because, again, even officially, there was news reports coming from local publications, but everyone was like, no, Bilderberg's not reporting on this. This is not confirmed. Everyone was questioning it, and then it happened. And officially, they were talking about Iran because Switzerland obviously helps the United States be a kind of mediator to Iran and help them discuss different diplomatic situations between each other when they do have to somehow communicate, because most of the communication lines are closed. One of the open lines is here in Switzerland. What do you make of that? Because a lot of people are observing a lot of the attendees at Bilderberg are pretty much a lot of the members you would need to start a war, and that's what people are speculating. That's what people are theorizing out there, that Pompeo was kind of here to kind of push for war. What do you make of that kind of theory out there, and is there any circumstantial evidence that does kind of back some of these theories up?
Well, just to go backwards, it was very interesting to see before Pompeo arrived. I was watching Eric Schmidt in the lobby, just standing around, and I couldn't understand what he was doing. And then the car pulled up, and then it was Kissinger's car, and Kissinger comes out, and Schmidt waits for Kissinger and sort of goes with him, and helps him into the car, to the minivan. They go off, disappear for a couple of hours. They come back, and just minutes after that, they come back. Pompeo and his entourage arrives. So I'm assuming that Schmidt and Kissinger went to a meeting with Pompeo, which would make a lot of sense. And it just adds a little bit of Bilderberg background to the occasion. Yeah, absolutely. I keep bumping into the guy who's the director of the Office of Net Assessment, great title, who's their kind of top Pentagon strategist, and he's always looking really miserable. Genuinely, it's like this, just like that. And I'm thinking, really? I want him to look a bit happier. I don't want him to look, I don't know. He looks like he's just been told you've got a whole lot of work to do coming up, and he's oh no, I have to do the kind of war maths for I'm going to lose all my weekends now for the next year. He's there, but there's quite a lot of Pentagon people, and a lot of the tech people have also got Pentagon roles as well, like Schmidt. He runs the Defense Innovation Board and also the new AI Advisory Board for the government.
You brought up a good point, because a lot of them don't look happy. A lot of them are kind of drudgingly freaked out, stressed out, and I'm kicking myself because I remember kind of accosting Peter Thiel and kind of questioning him a little bit. I wish I would have asked him if his attendance at Bilderberg made him want to buy one of those emergency doomsday bunkers in New Zealand since he's at Bilderberg, because this is also another fascinating segment. A lot of these Bilderbergers, a lot of these billionaires are paranoid. They are buying doomsday bunkers. They are kind of saying, hey, if ish hits the fan, we're going to go to New Zealand. So it kind of makes me wonder, especially with how aggressive a lot of members of the Trump administration have been against Iran, this kind of last final foreign policy frontier for the neoconservatives that is Iran, that there might be something here, because there is a history of major events being publicly bragged about, decided at Bilderberg, which of course you talked about for a while. But what do you make of that? Do you think there's credence in this? And what are some of the past kind of comments that stick out to you about Bilderberg?
Well, I would say, just on the subject of this, the idea that there's a war coming. If you look at the agenda, a lot of it, more than half of it has got a kind of flavour of war about it. Not just the Russia, China, but you've got the cyber threats, you've got the weaponization of social media. Even a strategic order is a military term. It's not it's not just like political. It's a political military idea, and so it's everything is becoming militarized. The tech is militarized. The agenda of Bilderberg is militarized. So and you've got the people here that carry the war into all the different various fronts, like in space. There's a couple of people here, like the guy who's on the board of Lockheed, whatever his name is, James Ellis. He's got some position about, used to run US Strategic Command, and now he's looking towards space. And there's a guy from the DoD that does space and projects, and so that's militarized. So it's like they're looking everywhere. It's like social media, from social media to the moon. It's like everything is about war now.
Yeah, with Jared Kushner in there, who literally, on the record, negotiates better deals for weapons for Saudi Arabia with Lockheed Martin. And then those are the individuals in there just saying, hey, we're doing everything in secret, we're doing everything in private, but we're trying to make the world a better place. And then you wonder, I have a lot of doubts for that, because usually when a lot of elitist kind of powerful billionaire people, whenever they kind of wash their money or do tax evasion through charity work, supposedly, they brag about it. They have press releases and PR companies that talk about it from the top of the rooftops. But when it comes to supposedly doing some good work at Bilderberg, they're very hush-hush, very hum about it.
Well, hang on. You've got to remember that Bilderberg itself runs as a charity. So it's the British Bilderberg Association, the American one. They're all tax exempt. So and you look at the statements of how they're tax exempt. They have to file to the Charity Commission in the UK. They have to say that what we're doing is educational. They literally say it's for educating the world about things, and for spreading information and just kind of solving problems and all of that. So they're sort of dressing up what they do. By the way, whether or not that's the case, that's they're certainly suggesting that what they're doing is sort of helpful, educative enterprise.
Meanwhile, of course, a lot of times they run a big burden on the taxpayer with all the security and all the insanity and all the theater that they kind of do out there. This year, I'll be honest, a lot of the cops were very professional. I think there was one instance where a cop got physical, a couple instances, but it was nothing serious. I mean, all it takes is just hey, No, like you can't do this. And then tell them to relax. They usually relax, and then they kind of realize like, hey, yeah, these guys are just journalists out here filming. I mean, you've been accosted so many times throughout the other Bilderberg members. It really wasn't bad this year. But any last kind of final comments on Pompeo war and this year's kind of Bilderberg that you want to leave us with, Charlie?
Oh goodness. Only well, I just thought we had some spectacular photos. It was really lovely weather. It was a beautiful place, and we were lucky enough to get some great positions. We managed to charm a young lady. I wasn't doing the charming, but I rode someone else's charm up to a third floor balcony to get a lovely view of the arrivals with see Pompeo arrive. So we were extremely lucky with the weather, with the photographs, and you lucky with your interviews. I think we got some good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of interviews, still editing all of them right now, still exhausted. You're exhausted. Charlie Skelton, thank you so much for your excellent writing, your excellent work. Follow Charlie in the description. I'm going to put your Twitter, I guess, in there. You always have some snarky Twitter stuff to put in there that I always appreciate. And if you guys appreciated this video, share it with your friends and family members. You guys are more important than ever since we confronted Eric Schmidt. We're going to need your help a little bit more. And we appreciate you because of that. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.